fresh.
Suka suka with
Orana, welcome to Fresh.
Oya.
Kopongi, ke Orana.
Tēra, we're keeping it cookie at Te Maeva Nui, Aotearoa 2021.
Hear the drums, taste the kite, feel the ura.
But first,
here's what's coming up on your show today.
The best thing about this festival is that we get to celebrate our culture, but also make connections with families both near and far.
My minor in Pacific Island Studies is so awesome for me because I get to learn about our Pacific peoples and learn about our history, our development.
This year's costume was inspired by the beautiful tiwaiwai that we have here in the Cook Islands. So my name is Tamarua Masters. This year I am helping our team Pharmacy.
that's right, Freshies, we're here in Kohimarama for Te Maeva Nui, Aotearoa, the biggest Cook Islands cultural festival in Aotearoa. Let's see how everyone's keeping it fresh.
I need to stop and carry this in one, huh? Hey.
Thank you, everyone. My name's Hipai Naka, and we're from
Aotearoa.
About this festival is that we get to celebrate our culture, but also make connections with families both near and far. So some who we haven't heard of before, and some who we've always known.
E mea maata kia matahara mātou I te ia tuatau o Te Maeva Nui. Kia rauka ia mātou I te api I tā mātou tamariki. No te tuatau ki mua.
About 2 years ago, the young people born in New Zealand were asking how come they have to travel to the Cook Islands to be involved in Cook Island culture. So they met No'opare, who is the chair of Te Maeva Nui, and he thought there's these young people passionate to learn Cook Island language and art. What can he do? He met with a couple of people, talked about it, and the idea was born.
you know, Cook Islanders, like all us, all Polynesians, we start moving from when we are babies. You know, they grow up listening to Cook Island music, even though they don't know the language, but they know the songs. So when they eventually decide to become a member of a Maeva Nui group, they've already got the dance and the culture in them. You know, when you haven't been brought up on Cook Island's culture or dancing from a young age, like we do back home, it's always difficult to perfect the dance. So that's probably one of the hardest parts when choosing a team full of Cook Islanders that's never danced before or have done a little dancing before. Yeah.
So this is my first Maeva Nui, and I knew that it was going to be a really, really big thing because, you know, this is the pinnacle, this is the te matatini of the Cook Islands. And, you know, coming on stage, it was, you know, I'm surprised anyways, even though I know that there's going to be heaps of people. And so just being in the moment is really special. Yeah. I wanted to join this festival is because I wanted to reconnect with my Cook Island culture, and what better way to do that by dancing, by singing, by being fully immersed in the culture. And so it's taken a whole year and a half since I've actually learned how to dance, and to get to the point where I'm at Te Maeva Nui is pretty extraordinary. Out of all the 5 categories, I would honestly say by a mile, the Orapa'u is my favorite, the drum dance.
Keep it fresh from Bakataki Tumu. Yeah, Coco!
When you look at the Cook Island dancing, you can see like a lot of it is to entertain and to draw in people from other cultures, and it's very attractive to watch.
The emphasis of the festival really is to enable our language to live on and our culture to be continued, but at the same time, that to reconnect us to our homeland.
Keep it fresh!
Kia ora, my name is Cam Inuit Tawai Young. I was born and raised in the beautiful Hawke's Bay, and I'm in my 3rd year of my Bachelor of Science at the University of Otago.
You may have heard of Charlie's Angels, or in Tongan, Siale's Angels, City of Angels, Angels in the Outfield, but have you ever heard of the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels?
They'll be featuring sand on their costume, which represents the island Palmerston, which is known for its white sand. And then they're also in the coconut fiber. Everything is natural.
Orana, welcome back to Fresh.
We're here at Kohi Marama for Te Maeva Nui Aotearoa, where there are heaps of young, gifted and brown freshies everywhere.
Just like the next fellas.
Me taki ngao.
I was actually raised in the 3rd gender of the Cook Islands, so that is Akavainia, and I think that's really important because the 3rd gender of the Cook Island has a function within the household, and so that function of that 3rd gender is a really important part of my identity. Kia ora, my name is Cam Inui Tawai Young. I was born and raised in the beautiful Hawke's Bay and I'm in my third year of a Bachelor of Science at the University of Otago. I am 20 years old and a Virgo. So my major is in anatomy, which is the study of the human body, and with my minor in Pacific Island Studies. I recently started a role at Te Whare Tawhiro, which is the university's Sexual Violence Prevention and Support Unit. I do mentoring. I have this passion and this desire to be a Pacific researcher, maybe a Pacific lecturer in the future. I also do a bit of tutoring on the side. I'm involved with our student politics and student associations here at the university.
And you're like 20.
Yeah, I'm 20. So I'm the youngest of 6 kids. Yeah. I was raised by a solo mum. My mum is my real life superhero. She raised us 6 kids, as well as providing for us really awesome opportunities to grow and develop. On my 17th birthday, when I baked a rainbow cake and came out as gay to everyone, it was a real turning point in my life. I say that because that's a big part of my journey, and coming down to Otago, this is a time not of hibernation anymore, but a season of giving and a season of life for me. Step into my identity a little bit more and become who I want to be in life. So I live in a 5-bedroom flat. It is nice and cozy and warm. There are 4 other young women who live here with me, all Pacific. Our flat is really cool because it's part of a big complex and it's full of Pacific people like Rosella who like to sneak by and steal our food. Our Pacific community here is so supportive and tight-knit, and we are always advocating for one another. There are a few Pacific students in the papers that I take. So my major is in anatomy, which is the study of the human body. In some classes, you'd be lucky to get maybe 5 other Pacific students. Yes, it does get a little bit terrifying at times to step into an environment that's predominantly Pākehā, but I think that builds a lot of resilience and a lot of strength in our Pacific students. I think we're really lucky here at the University of Otago because we have a really awesome division of health sciences, specifically a Centre for Pacific Health and Pacific Island Research Student and Support Unit. And there are no wrong answers. Everything will be right because it is up to your interpretation. What does it mean to be Pacific? There's the ideas of physical health, mental health, spiritual health, and there are a lot of different Pacific Indigenous researchers who are looking into all of those different topics. And so as a collective and as a community, we're all targeting this idea of Pacific health so that hopefully we can create a better health system, a better education system for our new Pacific tauira who are coming through. My minor in Pacific Island Studies is so awesome for me because I get to learn about our Pacific peoples and learn about our history, our development, our strengths, which is really important, as well as perhaps things that we need to work on. Combining anatomy and Pacific Island Studies is a really unique mix of disciplines and of subjects, but I found that there are still so many great opportunities that come from that in research, volunteering, community work as well, that stem from this combination. Something I'm really passionate about is sexual and reproductive well-being of Pacific peoples. So that's the idea of not just gender, sexuality, gender expression, but also the concepts of contraception, safe relationships. One of the biggest challenges about being Pacific in a Western institution is the idea that we have differing worldviews. And so when we view things like reproductive well-being, reproductive biology, we see it in a very tapu lens, in a very different way than non-Pacific peoples. Often our Pacific understandings of these taboo topics acts as an inhibitor, so we're not able to experience learning the way non-Pacific people do. We understand what these topics are, but we don't necessarily have the vocabulary to express that. I think with a little bit more effort and compassion for our Pacific students, we will be able to equip them with those skills in order to be champions and be pioneers in the future. I didn't see anyone else that looked like me growing up. Proudly Pacific, proudly queer, proudly a nerd, which I am. And so not only do I need to understand what it means to be Pacific myself, but I need to understand it in a way that I can give it back and share it back to younger students.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was originally used by British soldiers in the 19th century as a name for Hadendoa warriors on the Red Sea coast of Sudan. Tell us you're racist without telling us you're racist.
Welcome back to Fresh.
What's up, guys? My name's Danny. This is Tana. We're just out here enjoying some fresh air with some fresh people.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
You may have heard of Charlie's Angels, or in Tongan, Siale's Angels, City of Angels, Angels in the Outfield, House Angels. But have you ever heard of the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels? The Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels was the name given to Papua New Guinea war carriers that were recruited to bring supplies and carry injured Australian troops during World War II. They would carry supplies and people down the Kokoda Trail during the Kokoda campaign. Fuzzy Wuzzy was originally used by British soldiers in the 19th century as a name for Hadendo warriors on the Red Sea coast of Sudan. Tell us you're racist without telling us you're racist. The name referred to their hair, as the soldiers would describe it as elaborate and butter-matted. This same title was given to the Papuans who helped the Australian forces during their war. The title of Angel was attached to their name for their selfless service, which still doesn't quite cancel the dodgy Fuzzy Wuzzy reference, so let's just call them the Papuan Angels. These angels were described by soldiers as extremely brave, resourceful, and kind. They carried stretchers over dodgy environments, down deep valleys, and up high mountains. If they found the night approaching while they were carrying a patient, they would find a flat spot and build a shelter over the patient. No known injured soldier that was still alive was ever abandoned by the Angels, even during heavy combat. In June 1942, Australian Major General Basil Morris issued an Employment of Natives order, which allowed native Papuans to be recruited as carriers for 3 years. Between August and December that year, around 16,000 Papuans were recruited, often with false promises. Sometimes, the Papuans were forced into service. The Angels were heroes and warriors. If not for them, many injured soldiers would have been lost at battle. Their story of strength and service is one that should be remembered and honored. So the next time we have Anzac Day, and you say a word of thanks for those who have served, don't forget to honor our Papuan Angels who carried the weight of those battles too.
Kia ora, my name is Tere and we are doing Te Maeva Nui in the Cook Islands.
Kia orana. So my name is Tamarua Masters. This year I am helping our team Pāmati, and the theme for this year basically is about gospel, arrival of Christianity. This year's costume was inspired by the beautiful Te Maeva Nui that we have here in the Cook Islands. The boys' costume will be featuring the Te Maeva Nui Taore, and the girls' costume will be featuring the Te Maeva Nui Manu. So the girls this year, their costume is using a lot of poi poi. Also, we're using parrotfish scales. These are the roses that we make with the fish scales. We're using white tawake feathers and also kirio and roti. They'll be featuring sand on their costume, which represents the island Palmerston, which is known for its white sand. And then they're also in the coconut fiber. Everything is natural. With the wives, so these are the hats that they'll be wearing. So one is made of kiri'au, one is made of rito, rauara, and I'm currently doing one out that's made out of shells. Go team, Pama team.
Okay, Freshies, we hope you guys enjoyed all the beautiful music, the dancing, and the beautiful Cook Islands culture here at Te Maeva Nui.
Make sure you come back next week for more.
What's that black stuff? Like,
It's mascara.
Looks like something I'll feed my kids.
Does it look delicious? No.
Gosh, is this like an actual chef?
I'm a first-year junior doctor here in the Hutt Valley, and I studied at the University of Otago. Just went to be a ka'a and just kind of play around and see what I like.